Alright, so I'm bored, so we're going to talk about the fall movie season, and I'm not going to be going over every single movie that comes out. I'm just going to talk about ones that are really important to me in some way, whether it be I'm looking forward to it a lot, whether I think it looks terrible, or just some other reason I want to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about every single movie coming out. We already had Riddick, and that was good, but now next week you have Insidious Chapter 2, which at first I was apprehensive about because I loved Insidious and I didn't think it needed a sequel necessarily. But James Wan's directing it again, so I trust him, and the trailers, well, I thought it looked okay at first. The TV spots that have been coming out have been really cool. They've gotten me really pumped for this movie, and I just hope it doesn't suck. Also coming out this month is Prisoners, starring Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. I think that movie looks fantastic. The trailers have me so sucked in, and I really want to know what's going on there and who took the children and what's gonna happen to certain characters. I can't wait to see that movie. Yeah, I'm gonna pull out my phone here and we're gonna look at some other movies coming out, because I know there's a few others in September I've been looking forward to. I don't remember because I'm that smart. Another movie that comes out in limited release on the same day as Prisoners on the 20th of September is Rush, and that movie is going to be in New York and Los Angeles that week. I might go out to New York to see it, I'm not sure, because I love Ron Howard as a director, and I think that Chris Hemsworth is a very good actor. Just the trailers for this movie, they've been good. There just hasn't been something in the trailers that gets me super pumped up for it. I think that it could be a really good movie. I just don't see it becoming a fantastic movie or one of my favorites of the year. So I'm probably just gonna wait until it comes out in wide release. And another movie coming out in September is Metallica Through the Never, and I'm a huge Metallica fan. I think this movie could be great. At first I was kind of like, oh, why are they adding in some story to it and movie elements? I just wanted to see a concert movie. But the trailer itself looks, stylistically, it looks really cool. I really hope that they can blend the music with the story well. I haven't heard many people talking about Runner Runner, but honestly, I think the trailer looks really cool. I think Ben Affleck looks great, and it probably won't be an amazing movie, but I'm very interested in seeing it, so that's all I have to say about that. And at the beginning of October, Gravity comes out, and I think Gravity looks really good. I really want to see that movie. I think it looks great. The visuals are amazing, and I like how it's just kind of like buried in space. And I loved Buried, so I hope that this movie can capture certain elements that Buried had and put it into this movie. Not necessarily like rip it off, but just have certain elements that movie had and make it in space. I also like how I did a trailer review for Gravity, and the fact that I mentioned one thing that bugged me in the trailer got me uber hate. And really? October has some movies that I'm looking forward to. Most of them seem to be in limited release. Like, on October 18th, I think both movies come out that day, is The Fifth Estate and 12 Years a Slave. I think both of those movies look amazing. The Fifth Estate is that WikiLeaks movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and I think the trailer is fantastic. I really can't wait to see that movie. And 12 Years a Slave is the new movie from Steve McQueen, who directed Shame and Hunger, and I haven't seen Hunger yet, but I loved Shame. And the cast in this movie is so great, like Brad Pitt, Benedict Cumberbatch, Michael Fassbender, Paul Dano, Paul Giamatti, and the guy who stars in the movie, who if I tried to pronounce his name I would butcher it, but I think he looks great as well. And Steve McQueen does such great cinematography. I can't wait to see what he does with this movie. And at the end of October, that new Jackass movie is coming out, and honestly, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, they're just gonna do one off the grandpa character. That doesn't sound too great, but the trailer for this movie was so hilarious. It just blew me away. If the whole movie is like that trailer, it's gonna be the funniest movie of the entire year, but it probably won't be, because they probably wanted to show some of the better parts of the movie in the trailer. I'm still excited for it. I really want to laugh during that movie, because again, this year for comedies has just not been very good. At the beginning of November, you have Ender's Game, but honestly, I don't really care about that movie. The trailer is fine, and it has a good cast, but there's just nothing there that's pulling me in, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know because I haven't read the book, but I'm pretty sure they showed the climax of the movie in the trailer, and that's just stupid. Then, on November 8th, we have Thor: The Dark World, which is my most anticipated Phase 2 movie. It has been, and it still is. I cannot wait for Thor: The Dark World. Thor was one of my favorite Marvel movies, and this one just looks so good. I can't wait to see them go into Asgard and all these different realms and explore it. I hope they do. And it's directed by Alan Alan Taylor, who's done a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. I think it looks great, especially if they bring him into that. He knows how to do fantasy type stuff. Also in November, The Wolf of Wall Street comes out. I'm not sure when. That movie looks very good. The trailer, again, this is one of those movies that didn't pull me in from the trailer, but I still think looks great. Because of the cast and Martin Scorsese and the whole plot, I think it'll be great. Just the trailer didn't really pull me in. Of course, I'm gonna have to talk about this. Hunger Games: Catching Fire comes out November 22nd, and Catching Fire is my favorite Hunger Games book. I really hope they do it well. I like the director, and I don't really need to talk about this movie. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. This movie is like it. If they don't do this one well, then I'm gonna lose some hope for Mockingjay. I think at the end of November, the Oldboy remake comes out, and again, I'm not hyped up for that movie too much. I watched Oldboy a few months ago, and it was a good movie. I like Josh Brolin. I don't really care about Spike Lee that much. So I do want to see what they do with the Oldboy remake, though. I want to see where they go. Oh, and Charlotte Copley's in it, and I'm sure he'll be great. Moving into December, I know a few movies coming out, but I'm gonna really have to look things up here, because I know there are movies coming out, but I don't remember. So I'm just gonna talk about The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, because there are a lot of Oscar-type movies coming out there, like Inside Llewyn Davis, Her, American Hustle. Those movies are coming out, but I've avoided the trailers for those movies because I just don't really need to know going in anything about them. I'm just gonna watch those movies most likely. But The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, again, this is the one that I think could be the best one of the three, because the dragon is finally coming in. Benedict Cumberbatch is voicing him, and that's just enough for me to give it an A+. And I really want to see what happens when they finally reach the dragon's lair and how they combat him. I have no idea how that's gonna work. And I think a week after that, Anchorman 2 comes out. Anchorman 2, I'm worried about it, because the trailer was pretty funny, I laughed a lot, but it's a sequel to a comedy, and it's coming out 9 years later, so those things don't really mesh well together in my mind. Don't get me wrong, I hope it's great, I hope it's funny, but I don't see that happening. I could definitely see it being funny, but I can't see it being, like, great, like people praise Anchorman to be, even though I think it's a little bit overrated. 47 Ronin's coming out in December. Look, I don't like Keanu Reeves that much, and I was watching the trailer. The first time I put this trailer on when it came out, I was watching it. I got about a minute into it, like when they were showing the logos, I was like, ah, fuck this, I'm out. It looks... I don't know how to describe it. It just looks like a big CGI fest of garbage, and then you have this guy with skull tattoos shooting guns, even though everyone else has samurai swords. It's like, what? Who? I don't get it. It looks like 300 with samurais, and that's just not interesting to me. Yes, that movie looks like a clusterfuck, and I just don't care about it. Alright, I'm scrolling through here. Like, you have Walter Mitty coming out, too. That's the Ben Stiller movie where he's just going places in his mind, I think. I don't know. But that movie looks pretty interesting, and I'm looking here. I didn't know this movie got pushed back into December. I don't know why. But The Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg and Taylor Kitsch, and it's directed by the guy who did Battleship. It's like... It's a true story, but it's the guy who did Battleship, so it's probably not going to be anything like that or Oscar-worthy, so I'm not sure why that movie is in December. So those are my overall thoughts going into this fall season. I have a lot of movies I'm looking forward to. Surprisingly, I didn't really remember too many movies that I thought looked terrible. Maybe it's just because not many movies look terrible, and that would be great if we had a lot of good movies this fall. So what are you guys looking forward to this fall? What are you not looking forward to? What do you think looks amazing? What do you think looks terrible? Write your beautiful comments down there and tell me what you think. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down there, because if you don't, I'm just... Fuck 47 Ronin.